This is our honest review of Palo Steakhouse on a Disney Wish.
And whether it was wheelchair accessible. Tonight, we dined at one of the 2 specialty restaurants on the Disney Wish. Palo is on the original 4 Disney cruise ships, but for the Triton class, which right now includes the Wish, Treasure, and Destiny, they have updated the restaurant to Palo Steakhouse. Mostly the same with just a few little tweaks and some different theming.
Yeah.
But very similar menus. And so this was the first time we were dining at the Palo Steakhouse experience.
Yes, it was a different theming experience. The restaurant overall theming was roses. They had some rose along the upper parts of the window. They had some Beauty and the Beast theming on the menus. Little small details that unless you're paying attention, you would not notice it. And I didn't notice it until the server pointed it out.
According to the server, the new restaurants on the Triton class ships are themed after Beauty and the Beast. So the bar that sits between them, the Rose, has some Beauty and the Beast theming. And then the menu for Palo has basically a Cogsworth theme. So there's some clock symbols and gears and things like that, just sort of hidden throughout the restaurant and on the menu. And then Enchanté, the other restaurant, which is a French-inspired restaurant, Palo, is themed after, or is Lumiere's restaurant, essentially.
Okay.
He said that Lumiere had a French accent and Cogsworth had an Italian accent, and so the story was about this French and Italian, this French person and Italian person getting along, and that's what the restaurants are the way they are. Maybe. I never noticed. So it's a very light, the menu itself isn't, it's Italian inspired, as are the other Palos. There aren't Beauty and the Beast themed dishes or anything like that, right? There's no gray stuff. It's not like that. It's just that it's got a subtle nod, and the server framed it as bring it in line with other Disney restaurants that always have some sort of Disney storyline to them.
Right.
So now this one does too.
So, but overall, like I said, it was enjoyable. We got the heirloom tomato with the burrata cheese
So it's burrata mozzarella.
Burrata mozzarella.
With the heirloom tomatoes. The Caprese salad is always amazing.
Yes, it's all
Palo, and so this was no exception.
I got the pasta with lamb ragù, it was okay. The pasta was very large, and so I think that was good. But I don't know if I would get that again as my pasta choice. But
just to dive in that a little bit. So if you were exclusively going on taste.
It was very good.
Okay, but the size and shape of the noodles actually made it hard for you to maneuver because of your disability.
Correct.
Yeah, so they're not disability-friendly noodles, which is a sentence I never knew I would say, but it's a thing.
Yeah, so the noodles were too large, and trying to stab with the fork and get it with my fork was a little bit difficult. But the overall taste was very, very good. It was very good.
Do you think that had you just had them cut up, would it have improved the sort of ability to manipulate the noodles?
Maybe yes.
Okay,
yes.
So if somebody really wanted to try that, they just may need to
if you cut things up a little bit smaller and smaller portion sizes, then that'll work for them. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I got the 6-ounce Japanese A5 Wagyu, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So okay, so I got it because everybody talks about it being such a big deal. And I don't think I've ever had proper Japanese Wagyu, so I thought, why not? It was $60 for 6 ounces, which, according to the server, is a great deal for them because he says it's usually $100 an ounce or something crazy. This was $10 an ounce. And he's like, I don't understand where they got these prices, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay, so it was not my favorite steak by a long shot. It was clearly prepared well. It was seasoned well. It was juicy. I don't like fatty meats.
Right.
And Wagyu is a fatty meat. And I knew that going in, but I was like, hey, people say this is such a big deal. I might as well, when in Rome, try it, right? I also, certain types of meats, when they have stringy bits that kind of make it hard to pull it all apart. And so you end up with the chewy pieces. I have a texture thing. I really don't like that. I did cut away the fattier parts, which I'm sure if you're watching this and you've been dying to try Wagyu or you love Wagyu and you pay $100 an ounce, I am sorry. I am sorry to the Wagyu community. I'm not the audience for it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I kept wishing that it was halal so I could just give it to Adam, but it wasn't. So that, that didn't work out. But it was like, I'm glad to have had the experience. I'm glad that I had the experience when it wasn't $100 an ounce. I'm good now. That wasn't for me. Like, again, it didn't like ruin my night. Like I dealt with it. I got broccolini with it because he recommended getting like a green vegetable as opposed to a potato or a pasta because it's kind of heavy and with the steak and all that. I got broccolini and that was really good. And it had black garlic on it, and it was really delicious. And I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Has anybody out there had Wagyu before? If you have and there's no experience, in the comment below, because I want to know. If anybody else has had it.
Has anybody had it and not liked it? Because I did feel bad, but I'm done now. I don't need to try that anymore. And then for dessert, we did get the soufflés.
They always recommend a souffle. And so they almost kind of push it.
You think? I mean, he just said, hey, are you going to want to get the souffle because it takes a while? Like, I don't feel like he was pushing it. It was more like this assumption, like,
you're going to get the souffle,
right?
But it's always, of course, they're always great. It's like...
So then why is it a problem? You're acting like it's an issue. They have an amazing dessert and everybody wants it, and so they just assume that everyone's going to get it. Where's the problem?
I don't know. Maybe they have something different next time. I
feel like you need to be analyzed. It's like, this is like, it's too good? Is that the problem?
Yes.
And don't order it.
They make me order it.
They didn't make you.
Yes, they did.
No one has.
Yes, he did.
No one forced you.
Yes, he did.
No, he really didn't.
Okay, but the souffle. They have a gluten-free souffle.
It's very good.
And a regular souffle.
And now he had a very particular way that he wanted to present it. And so we've seen them like cut the hole and then just pour both sauces in. There's like a vanilla sauce and a chocolate sauce. He very much wanted the vanilla sauce in there first by itself because he said that the chocolate overpowers the vanilla and you need to experience the vanilla. And it's like, okay, dude. It was very particular. This was like how he wanted to serve it. And I was cool to let him do his thing. And it was fine. Adam's, I feel like, turned into soup because it was like the ice cream melted real fast and went it in. And so, but you liked it.
Yes.
And you liked it more because often you'll say that my gluten-free one is better than yours.
Yeah, this one,
time. So apparently, Alexander, was that his name?
Yes.
His method worked well for Adam. So Alexander from Ukraine. It was a good experience. I am glad that we did it. It's always
Steakhouse.
It's always. I mean, it's a privilege to be able to go. I get that, and I really enjoyed it. Now, let's talk a little bit about the accessibility of the restaurant. So I'm going to go from smaller problems to bigger problems. So the table.
Well, let's start getting in there first.
Okay, you want to go from the big problem?
For the big problem, yes.
Okay, fine. So one of the major challenges, go ahead,
is it's on deck 12. So when you get to the location where it is, the door is not accessible. It's a handle, got to turn the handle and pull it open. And
they're not the widest doors either.
And so everything else is accessible.
Most weird oversight.
But just the door to a Rose and Palo Steakhouse is not.
Yeah.
It's not like you can hit a little man on the wall, boom, on the wall, and the door opens. Now, once you get into the restaurant proper area, like Brooke said, there's a Rose bar area first, and then there's another door for Palo Steakhouse, and I believe to the left, we go to Ashante. I don't recall seeing how that door was either. But
same, and their doors are just barely wide enough for the wheelchair to go through. So you go into the Rose Bar first, and then from within the Rose Bar is where you get to these other two restaurants. And the check-in desk for the restaurants is in the Rose Bar. So once you've checked in, then they are going to open the doors for you. Yeah. So problem solved there. But when you're going into the Rose, they're not seeing you coming. So it just seems like a weird oversight. There is a phone there. And so my suggestion would be use the phone to contact services and say, hi, I have a Palo reservation and y'all's door is not acceptable. Can someone please come let me in? And if enough people do that, then maybe they'll fix it.
Yeah.
But that's basically, maybe you should go do that tomorrow just to make them do it. But that was a silly thing. Like, I don't know why. And that also, it's your welcome to the restaurant. So it didn't feel the most welcoming to have this, it's the only door that I feel like I've come across that have some kind of button slide something. And I've noticed on the ship, sometimes it's a button you wave in front of, and sometimes it's a
sensor that automatically sees you coming.
That sees you coming. And then there's like a third type that you do have to push, but it's almost like you have to touch it as opposed to pushing a physical button. So there's like lots of different button door automatic opening situations happening on the ship. It was a weird thing. I don't know why they did that.
I feel that having a sensor that automatically opens a door when you come near it will be better, because most people don't go up there unless they're going to the restaurant. So it won't be open and closing all the time like a pool deck or something like that. So, but that's something that, I mean, it is close to the pool deck.
So I could see them wanting to have it something where you had to purposely open the door so that they didn't have to worry about noise coming in from the pool deck. Fine. But a button.
Yeah.
You know? So that was weird. But other than that, so then you get into the restaurant. Like I said, the second door that you have to go through was a little narrow as well. So he had to just be careful about how he's going in. He could have asked for the second door to be open. So if your chair is any wider than Adam's, which I think is 24 inches, then you probably want to just ask them to open, because it's like the two doors, right? So you should ask them to open the second door, which I'm sure they can. I'm not sure how easy it is, but I'm sure they can do it. So then getting to the table.
The table was fine. He asked me, did I want to transfer or stay in my chair? I said, stay in my chair. I said, okay. Time I got to the table, she already moved my second chair away. I got up to it. Normal. It's a little bit low for clearance. Other than that, I think those are the two things.
And the restaurant is pretty spread out. So I think that they probably have a number of wheelchair accessible tables available. You can tell them when you make the reservation, and that always helps, but they seem very prepared, so that it wasn't an issue. And, and they, of course, in terms of my food allergies, they asked about them so they called this afternoon to confirm a reservation and asked if there were any allergies. And so I talked to them about that. And then they asked me to repeat them when I got to the restaurant, which is not a surprise. But they were prepared to deal with them, and they didn't make a big deal about it. They were just like, okay, we can do this, this, and this. Oh, we can't do that, and they did, a fine job.
They will constantly make sure and verify to make sure they have everything in order for you, because they don't want any issues.
Right. It was a lovely experience. I would definitely do it again. I wouldn't get the Wagyu, but I would definitely do it again. It is a nice treat yourself option on Disney Cruise Line. It is by no means required. So if you are going on your first sailing or even like your second or third sailing, don't feel like you have to do Palo, because the restaurants are actually really good. And so you can have a great time with just the included dine. Don't necessarily. And by going to Palo, you're missing one of the entertainment or what have you that are happening as part of the dining experience. So you're missing one of the menus, right? So first couple of times, don't worry about it. But then once you've sailed a couple of times, if you want to do something different, Palo is a nice option. We don't do it every time by any means, but when we do it, we do like it. And it's just sort of a nice little upgrade. We have not done Enchante. I don't know if we will, just because there's a lot of it feels very fancy, and we have a lot of food requirements. I don't know. And it's quite pricey. So I don't know that I'm ready to pull that trigger. I'd rather get another massage than spend that much money on a restaurant. But your money, do what you want. So, but that was our review of Palo. Overall, we liked the experience. We just wish they would fix some of the accessibility things. Just a button on a door. We could deal with the table height. Just put a button on the door and it would just be so much better. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing and liking. We have lots of Disney Cruise Line content. We'll put a playlist on the end screen so you can check that out. But as we always say, until next time,
stay strong,
get creative,
and keep exploring.
We'll see you in the next video. Bye.